Hey everybody, today I'm going to give you an overview of our latest feature, which allows you to deploy Omnata syncs across multiple Snowflake accounts. It's become a more popular architecture to have fully segregated Snowflake accounts for dev and prod. So let's walk you through how it works. So you've got a Snowflake org, you have a dev and a prod segregated account under that org. We've got Omnata installed in both of those accounts. And then we have dev and prod instances of our target endpoint. Now, the first step is going to be creating connections to your dev and prod instances from the respective Snowflake accounts. Then we make Omnata aware of the different Snowflake accounts that we have. As you go through that sync configuration, you'll see that some components allow you to configure settings both for the dev and the prod deployment of this sync. Once you get to the end of the sync configuration, instead of just pressing start like you would in single account mode, we'll provide you with a deployment stored procedure. This stored procedure, as you can see in the text here, has different parameters for each deployment. So there's a non-prod deployment and then a prod deployment. You can take this stored procedure and run it on each of your Snowflake accounts. And because the Omnata app is aware of which account it's installed on, it will pick up the relevant configuration for that account. This allows you to manage the configuration of syncs in whatever source control tool that you use. Running that stored procedure will create a sync in each account that's listed without any hand configuration other than the first time in your dev account. All right, so let's walk you through how you actually do this. Now we're in our non-prod account and we're going to go to the settings tab and we need to make Omnata aware of the different accounts that we have. So in this case, we've just got a prod account, and then when we go to create a sync, we're going to author it in non-prod and then we can publish it to production. So we go into our Salesforce connector and we're going to create a new sync. We've already created the connection and we're going to pick multiple Snowflake account deployment. We need to make sure the connection slug is lined up. So if it's different, then you can edit that connection slug here. Then when we go to configure the sync, we're just going to ingest a few objects into Snowflake. And once we pick our sync strategy, we can see that this is a section where we can have different settings for the different deployments. So the storage location is where the data is going to land in your Snowflake account. If those settings are different between your test and your prod environment, you can define those here. Then once we get to the deployment tab, the name is going to be uniform across all the different accounts. And if we have any tags, the store procedure will create those if they don't exist on the other accounts. When we come to the actual scheduling, this is where we can have different settings for the different accounts. So in non-production, we're going to just have it on manual mode because we don't need test data refreshed very often. But in production, we want it every 15 minutes. And then when we go to deploy, we've got some more options. So you can see there's a new View SQL button next to Start Sync. This is going to give you that stored procedure which you can run in your non-production and your production accounts to create the sync. You can also take this and run it from external source control, and the same stored procedures can be used in tools like dbt and Coalesce to create and configure syncs. If you want to do some testing first before you deploy it to production, you can always save the sync like normal and then come back to the deployment tab to grab that stored procedure ready to be run on your production account. So I've got my stored procedure and I'm going to take it and run it. And that's successfully run now. And if we go back to our syncs menu item, we'll see that a new sync has been created. We'll see that that new sync has been created and that little globe indicates that it's a multi-account deployed sync.